Something constructive
we
that
call
can
brown people migrants. We call white people who go abroad to work expats. This is really important.
Firstly, by the way, migrants versus expats, there's a very clear reason. It's expected, rightly or wrongly, that expats don't stay in the country and bring up their families and stay for...
Hi everyone, welcome back again to another reaction video. Guys, we have another interesting video in our list, and the title of this video is Douglas Murray, Silent Muslim Girl and Dismantle Her Case in a Heated Immigrant Debate. Guys, no further talking, let's dive into it and watch it out.
There is a saying we have, damned if you do and damned if you don't. I think we've got to be very, very careful that we don't end up lambasting the freest and most generous countries.
You're about to watch Douglas Murray address an accusation thrown against Europe, and by extension, white people, that what they do for Africa boils down to a white saviour complex. Now that's pretty shocking, isn't it? In a debate that happened years ago in Doha, the floor was opened for the audience to ask questions. One of them, a Muslim lady named Asma from Kenya, turned to Douglas and said,
"And do you think it's judicious for these people in Britain, for example, you talked about how Britain is giving aid to these countries in Africa, it's judicious for them to give this much money to these countries but without even listening to their needs? So this only contributes to the white saviour complex that is currently a big issue in..."
Before we get into Douglas's epic response, let me quickly jump in and define what white saviour complex means, seeing that's an epithet that's being thrown around a lot these days. The term refers to white people helping black people only to look like white saviours. The suggestion is that the helper only wants to feel good about his good deeds and does not care about the person whom he is assisting at all. Now, here is how Douglas responded to this sort of accusation. He, straight up, wasn't having any of it.
Well, there is a saying we have, damned if you do and damned if you don't. If it's the case that if we don't give aid, we'd be accused of not giving aid, and if we do give aid, it's a white saviour complex.
But then, Douglas conceded to one thing.
We can all give aid better, for sure, and I just gave, in my opening remarks, what I think was a serious suggestion for one very good use of aid, which is to prioritise it in the region and in the neighbouring countries of places people are fleeing from. But, I mean, as I say, I would refuse as well to see the multifarious problems that exist in your own home country and sadly across the continent of Africa.
Back to Douglas in a sec. Why was the lady so quick to point fingers at Europe's magnanimity for the myriads of problems plaguing her country, and by extension, the continent of Africa? Are we to be blamed for the current political instabilities, bad governments and tribal wars happening in these places? Before we proceed, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on Douglas Murray's provocative debates. Next, another person in the audience claims that the main reason migrants are moving to Europe is because wealth is moving out of the developing world in form of debt repayment to the developed world. Here's how Douglas responded to that.
No, I don't. Again, I repeat the fact there are no simple answers. And if it was simply the fact that you could, I don't know, do debt default or something and solve the whole migration issue, then that would be great. But it just isn't the case.
Now watch as Douglas hits the nail at the head with these rhetorical questions.
You think that if for instance, all African countries were allowed to default on debt, that they'd become burgeoning, flourishing societies? You think that the problem across, for instance, sub-Saharan Africa isn't just unbelievable greed and theft by politician after politician? You think...
There you have it. But Douglas wasn't quite done.
You think that if you just wrote off the debt, that would stop being an issue and everyone would become transparent and clean in their dealings with money? I mean, the problems are much deeper than this. They're much deeper than just a simple solution like that.
Granted, historically, Europe colonized foreign countries for reasons ranging from persecution in their own countries to the search for riches and economic benefits. But then, it is really easy to simplify and accept biased information instead of being open-minded. It's quite untrue to believe that European countries were the only ones to conquer and colonize others. Every region has done similar atrocities against others, if you go back in time far enough. But that's by the way. Now, one of the debaters sitting across from Douglas, another anti-Europe activist, made a point which drew a resounding applause from the crowd.
Something constructive
we
that
call
can
brown people migrants. We call white people who go abroad to work expats. This is really important. Right.
However, Douglas, as if he had prepared ahead of time for her point, gave a response that was both fitting and truthful.
Firstly, by the way, migrants versus expats, there's a very clear reason. It's expected, rightly or wrongly, that expats don't stay in the country and bring up their families and stay for generations. The assumption with migrants is, currently has been in recent generations, that they are going to stay and that it's going to be a multi-generational thing.
Personally, I think calling these people refugees is according them respect that they do not deserve. In reality, most of them are actually callous invaders. Whereas some refugees may intend to leave for home as soon as possible, invaders intend to stay and take over. So the present group of refugees certainly belongs to the latter, and hopes of integration are misplaced since they won't, as we can see in the Turks in Germany and the Maghreb refugees in France. No multicultural society in history ever survived for long, and typically ended up with one group massacring the other, as the most recent example of Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda showed us. To expect otherwise is sheer arrogance or simply insanity. Next, Douglas turns to everyone on stage, throwing shade at Europeans, and asks a question that leaves the whole audience speechless.
I think we've got to be very, very careful that we don't end up lambasting the freest and most generous countries. And I would just urge, as a call to, as it were, moral caution on this, urge you in this room and people watching, how many people have you made citizens of Qatar from Syria? How many? Okay.
You could have heard a pin drop in the room. Now, the truth of the matter is that Europeans are pacifists. We are, generally speaking, liberals in our thinking. This is why we assume that everyone is as kind, respectful and educated as we are, because we all have our heads in the sand and can't face the reality that we opened our borders to our enemies. I mean, the same people from the East and South we give money to actually hate us and our culture. I mean, let's face it. Islam hates Western liberal culture. They consider the West degenerate and pornographic, but it's too late to stop them from coming since they are already here. Worse still, many of them now have voting rights. That's game over. Now, guys, it's high time we all stood up and demand a change. What are your thoughts on this? Should Europe continue to accept so many refugees? Let us know what you think in the comments section.
Oh guys, what an awesome video. Like, ever since I've been watching this from Douglas Murray, like guys, I have really learnt a lot. And Douglas Murray is not this kind of man or who is afraid of anyone. Yes, he's not scared to tell the truth. Yes, he is always there. Whenever you ask any question, he's going to tell you what is right and what is wrong. He doesn't look at your face at all. And guys, I believe that the lady that raised up this question, I believe that she's not sincere at all, because I don't see anything wrong when the white tries to offer a happy hand to the black by giving them a loan. Because some of the black or some of the Africa, they are not seeing it that okay, that since the whites are giving them loan, I think that there must be something that they are benefiting from them, or that is the reason why they are giving them loan. Guys, like I see for no reason why someone will decide to help you or to render a happy hand to you, and from there you begin to think and otherwise. You know, I do not blame the white, I do not blame the British, because there's a lot of refugees. There's a lot of them, and guys, for them to be accepting a lot of refugees, do you also know that they are spending money? Yes, they are spending money. Their resources are involved. Like most of these refugees, most of them will come, and from the agreement they make, when they come, they say okay that they are going to live in so time, and when the time expire, a lot of them don't want to go. A lot of them don't want to go again. Like, you know, there is a great passion in Britain more than the Africa. To me, that is what I believe. So I think most of these people who left their various country to another country, I think they must have some reasons that made them to leave. They have that reasons that made them to leave, and after leaving, they went there and they don't want to go. Yes, they don't want to go back again. They just want to remain there. Like, they just, after seeing there, they see that the place is beautiful. Maybe life is more softer, depending on them, and they will not like to go now. And even as that, some of them begin to create and to cause a lot of nuisance, which is not good for the country at all. So guys, to me, I think the Africa should stop blaming the white for their misfortune. Yes, they should stop blaming the white for their misfortune, because I see no reason why someone will decide to render you a happy hand. Remember, it was the black that went to them and said, okay, please, we need help, can you give us a loan? Like, the whites, they didn't just wake up one morning and they say, okay, Africa, come and take loan. So the Africa, they are the one that seek for that help. They are the one that ask the white to give them a loan. And I believe that when the white has given them that loan, I think they should stop saying that that they have an interior motive for giving them that loan, because we the African, we are just blaming the white for our own misfortune. We are just blaming the white for our own problem. Guys, Africa is a very, very big country, and I believe that 200 years ago, when the British colonized Africa, I believe that by now at least we have stand on our own. Yes, we can survive without all these things. So if they should receive a loan from the British, I think they should make use of that money. They should think wise and think of how to invest that loan, so that they can use it to create any job opportunity or anything that will be bringing money. So not after collecting loan, they will still go back there and ask for a loan. And after they have given them this loan, most of these people begin to say that the whites are giving the African the loan for their own benefit. So guys, I see no reason why they should blame the white for all these things. I think the government should be blamed for all these things. The government in Africa, they should be the one to be blamed for all these things, and not the black and not the whites. Yes, the white was on their own when you guys went to them and said, okay, we need help. So they were on their own when you guys met them and said, okay, we need help, come and help my country, come and do this one, come and invest this one in my country. So I think we shouldn't put the blame on them. Yes, it's not their fault. It's not their fault, because they just decide to render this help. And guys, let me ask this particular question. Like, most of this loan that the black have been going to the whites to borrow, like, tell me, what is that good thing that they have used that money to do? Tell me one good thing that they have used that money to do, or one good investment. Can they give an account of that money? Can they give an account of what that they use that money for? No. Most of this African government, they don't even have they don't even have an account, or they can't even tell what they use that money that they borrowed from these white people. Yeah, they can't give an account of what they use that money from, but they keep borrowing, and the problem is not borrowing, but the question is, what are you using that money for? What are you using it for? And at the end of everything, you are not blaming the whites that they are the cause of the whites, that the whites are the problem that the black are facing right now. To me, I think that is not right at all. It's not right, because you are the one that went for them to help. So guys, I'm so excited sharing this video with you, and I've really learned a lot with it. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section, and I will really appreciate every bit of that. So guys, you stay tuned and see you all in my next video. Bye.